As Americans with ties to ASEAN countries, what messages would you like to send to ASEAN's leaders? What do you hope that they take away from the meeting with the president and our leadership? So maybe I can ask Dr. Quay to go first.
Thank you, Richard. So I think for me, the biggest message I would say to the leaders of our ASEAN nations and to the leader of the United States, our President Biden, is that there's so much power in collaboration. I've seen that over and over throughout my career, that truly nothing is impossible when we come together in our humanity and we remember the mission of making our community, making our global world better. There's so much power in collaboration, and there's so much richness in the cultures that we can bring together and do better than the sum of our parts.
Thank you so much. How about you, Amanda? Do you have a message for ASEAN's leaders?
Well, I just want to echo what's been said. I think collaboration is absolutely key. And I also want to say that I'm so deeply proud of our heritage, of our diaspora all around the world. And that I hope that this collaboration just continues to grow.
Thank you so much. How about you, Simon?
I should say that among the ASEAN countries, together with the US, is to work on the common ground on issues in two areas: education, to collaborate on the students, and also innovations, which is very lacking, in my opinion, in the ASEAN country. These are the two areas that I think that should further collaborate on that.
That's great. I'm glad you brought up those two efforts too. We hopefully will have some deliverables from the ASEAN summit that we'll announce in those issues. Don't want to spoil it, but stay tuned.
Hey, Richard, could I jump in there?
Certainly,
unless there are other comments from our guests. We're really excited for the summit that's going to be later this week, and the president and Secretary Blinken are extremely happy that this is finally happening, and we at State have been really pedal to the metal in planning, logistics, the policies, and the various things that are related to the summit. So really, we're all really jazzed about all of this. And I think that we're celebrating 45 years of U.S.-ASEAN ties. But we also see this summit as moving forward as well. And we're celebrating the past 45 years, but we're also looking forward and trying to tackle, as many of our guests have said, together, the challenges of the 21st century. So we're looking at climate action, we're looking at pandemic recovery, we're looking at maritime cooperation, and as well as economic cooperation and clean energy transformation. So these are big issues that can't be solved alone by any one country. So we're really looking forward to expanding our relationship, deepening our relationship with the ASEAN countries, and really facing head-on these challenges that affect us all.
Right. Thank you for sharing that, Jung. Dr. Nguyen, do you have anything that you'd like to ask ASEAN's leaders?
Yes, I would like to do that. Thank you. I wanted to make a little bit more focused, narrow request or a message to the leaders. I think Burma is now going through quite a difficult time, and I would like to see that U.S. and ASEAN countries work together to make a more peaceful place and more safer place, safer fields, safer villages, safer cities, where new generation have a basic access to a decent education. Every child be prepared to go to college. Every one of those that go to college, some percent of them will be prepared to go to further study, graduate school, and so on. And I'm not talking about very costly school system with flashy equipment. I'm just talking about something very basic fundamentals that doesn't cost a whole lot, but it will make people's life a big difference as they go forward. So that would be my request.
Great, thank you very much, Dr. Nguyen. Let me ask a follow-up question in that regard, and I won't call on each and every one of you, but if you have anything to share, what would you like to share a message for President Biden or any of the U.S. government leaders that are going to be attending the ASEAN Special Summit? Anything you'd like to see the U.S. continue to do differently? What kind of support? What message would you have for us as members of the State Department and the U.S. government who are trying earnestly to strengthen the U.S.-ASEAN relationship? I'll just throw that open to anybody who wants to answer.
I'd be happy to start, Richard.
Please.
So I would say, first off, to President Biden, we have such an incredible history of leadership of the United States and Americans leading globally, and a huge, huge history of compassion and humanity. And I think continuing that tradition and upholding it and growing it of leading with humanity and compassion, that truly has so much power to make our global community better.
Right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's go to our next question. This question is actually for Dr. Pak. This is a question from Abraham, and he asks, can you talk a little bit about how the United States is contributing to ASEAN development through the Department of Commerce to build critical economic ties and to develop defense relationships in support of America's foreign policy goals? Maybe you can put this in the context of our Indo-Pacific strategy.
Thanks for that question, Abraham. I think the relationship with the ASEAN countries, as a group, as well as bilaterally, covers all of those areas that you mentioned, spanning from defense, security, to economic, as well as people to people. Last October, when President Biden participated in the U.S.-ASEAN summit, he announced over $100 million of new initiatives that span all of those things that we mentioned, on things like transportation, energy transformation, people, as well as people to people ties, and digital economy. And as well as education. So the ties are the deepening of this relationship, touch every aspect of those, in the recognition that we can't have economic prosperity without security in a free and open Indo-Pacific. And our relationship with ASEAN and the things that we're trying to do with ASEAN is nested within our greater Indo-Pacific strategy that aims to do all of that. A secure, a free and open Indo-Pacific, economic development and prosperity for all, as well as resilience of all of our allies and partners. So I'm really happy to be a part. I'm really proud to be a part of that Indo-Pacific strategy, and really helping the administration propel that strategy forward, bilaterally as well as collectively through our ASEAN friends.
Great, thank you so much for sharing that. And I also just want to add, last week, I had the opportunity to hear, along with my colleague, the Acting Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy, Liz Allen, from our colleagues in Southeast Asia who represent the young leaders there. They're part of a group called Waisili, which is the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, and they represent the largest group of young leaders that the State Department supports and organizes. And we heard from them about what they see the future of the U.S.-ASEAN relationship is. And they said exactly that, Jung, that they want to see more attention to helping build resiliency among ASEAN member states, creating economic opportunities and incentives for empowerment, and ways to lift up communities particularly at the economic and commercial level. As much as it really is important to follow a lot of the political developments, we talked a lot about what's going on in Burma with the continued activities there that remain troubling, and things that are going on in Russia, Ukraine, which a lot of those young leaders are following. They still see the United States as an engine of economic opportunity for those remaining in their country. So hopefully economic and commercial issues will be talked about predominantly at this week's ASEAN Special Summit. So thanks for sharing that.